Hey, welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Canada Digital Adoption Program, what it is, who's eligible, what it can be used for, and most importantly, how you can use it to grow and optimize your own small business. So if you've been wanting to, how best to use technology, create a marketing strategy that actually delivers, or ultimately trying to figure out how best to reach people that are ready and willing to pay for the services that your business has to offer, this video is for you. My name is Joe Guevara, and I'm the founder of Rehash Digital. We help small businesses succeed by educating entrepreneurs on the most impactful technologies alongside a clear strategy to actually deliver business outcomes. Since our mission is to be all things small business tech, we're continuing to pump out some amazing free resources like a newsletter, a small business tech blog, and even a tech library of cool and I would say must-have software that constantly gets updated. So check them out at rehash.tech. Lastly, I'd also love your feedback on things you want to learn about. So please write them down in the comments below, since it'll also help us kick off this channel, because liking, subscribing, and commenting are the ways you can tell the almighty YouTube algorithm that this content is valuable, not to mention motivation for us to keep developing the content for you. With that, enjoy the video. So as a recap, it was back in 2021, in the middle of the pandemic, that the Canadian government announced in their budget a stimulus program to support small and mid-sized businesses across Canada. Roughly around a year later, in March of 2022, the Canada Digital Adoption Program officially launched as a $4 billion investment initiative to help small businesses embrace digital technologies and transition to a more digital economy. This program is of course pitched to drive economic growth and job creation for Canadians across the country. So the $4 billion program is divided into two separate funding streams. The first one's called the Grow Your Business Online Grant, and it's a micro grant of $2,400 designed for smaller consumer-facing businesses, including service industries, which is slightly misleading based on how they say set up e-commerce grants. The second funding stream is called the Boost Your Business Technology Grant. This stream is for larger businesses with over $500,000 in annual revenue, and includes a $15,000 grant alongside a $100,000 0% loan on a 5-year term through the BDC, or the Business Development Bank of Canada. So fast forward a year later, and I came across this article in the Globe and Mail and talked about the progress over the 1-year period for the program itself. So interestingly, as of March 31st, so almost exactly a year and a month later after it launched, only 7,600 businesses had received these micro grants, less than a tenth of the way of their 4-year goal of 90,000. So assuming an even spread, you would probably have expected roughly around 15,000 businesses or so to have signed up and received these micro grants at this point. So they're way behind target. So 3,300 of these businesses are in the small business camp. So they went to a consultant, wrote a digital plan, and that was about $47.6 million in grants. And then on the ones that end up going through the plan writing stage, about 1,170, so these are only the ones that are over $500,000 in revenue, actually received interest-free loans to execute their plans. With an approval rate of 82%, they doled out roughly around $65.5 million through that 0% interest-free loan. That is far short of the $2.6 billion allocated to the loan program. So at the end of the day, they have quite a bit of money left over to essentially give out over the next 3 years. So when it comes to eligibility, there's a few common things between both of these streams that you need to keep in mind. If you don't hit these criteria, generally it's probably not worth even applying. The first one's the big one. You have to be a for-profit business. So in the spirit of the grant, where it's trying to make it easy for a small business to do transactions with an end consumer, being a charity, a foundation, a not-for-profit, anything like that does not count. That being said, it's not necessarily that you have to have physical products to be able to apply for the grant. You can be a service business. So what that means is that you can be an accountant, a doctor, a lawyer, any other business. As long as you hit the other threshold and criteria, you're going to be able to apply for this. So you do not need to be a physical retailer to be eligible for the grant. The second criteria is that you do need to be a registered business in Canada. So that means one of two things. One is that you need to be a registered business, so sole proprietorship, limited partnership, whatever the case is. If that's the case, you need to be living within Canada. So you can't be out in Hawaii or Florida somewhere running your business. I know remote work is a thing right now. You need to be physically living in Canada as a resident. Whether you're a snowbirder or not, that's a different story. But that's one thing. You can also be an incorporated business for either one. So as long as you're one of those two, you're perfectly fine. And lastly, the exclusions. So you have a certain set of exclusions, one of which you already touched on, which is the not-for-profit. In addition to that, you also can't be a corporate chain or a franchise. So if you own a string of Subways or McDonald's or whatever the case is, you are not eligible for the grant, however much you want to build up that digital presence. You also can't be a representative of multi-level marketing firm. So, any type of multi-level marketing does not count. You also can't be a brokerage firm. So this one surprises a lot of people. You can't be a real estate agent or broker. If you're in insurance, if you're in investments, if you're in mortgage, anything where you're acting as a broker does not count as a business. Even if it's incorporated or sole prop, that's automatic inclusion. Is what it is. You can't also be a business that's engaged in drop shipping. So there's a key difference that the grant kind of aligns to, where if you don't own or manage your own inventory, generally you're perceived as a drop shipper or a wholesaler. What that means is that if you just build a website, you're doing all the marketing for it, and you're essentially taking orders, but you're having somebody ship it from, let's say, China or Halifax or something to the end client, that does not count. So you won't be eligible for the grant. Similarly, if you don't stock your own inventory, let's say even if you ship it to yourself, but then you ship it over to Amazon to pursue Amazon FBA, that also does not count, because they are the ones doing the transactions for you. So hypothetically, you don't need to actually invest in anything from an e-commerce standpoint. Associated to that is the last exclusion, which is wholesaler. So you can't be a wholesaler or distributor. The caveat between both of these two last points, though, is that even if you do those things, as long as you have the capability or the willingness to develop your own e-commerce site, and you decide to, hey, I can use this grant and I can sell direct to a customer, you can do the FBA and you can do wholesaling and start up a new e-commerce site and sell directly to an end customer, then you're going to be eligible for the grants. The main thing that I've noticed, though, is that you do need to have the entire funds allocated only to that portion of the business. You can't say, oh, I'll spend $100 a month on a Shopify site, pretend I'm doing some sales there, but the rest of the money I'm going to pump into my wholesale business. They're probably going to deny that. So diving into the differences between these two streams, the primary difference is going to be the amount of revenue that your business is developing. The Grow Your Business Online grant is a little bit more lax. So you can have $30,000 in revenue for your last fiscal year, or you can have an employee on the payroll. So even if you don't have that $30,000 minimum for your last fiscal year, as long as you've had somebody on payroll for the latter half of the 6 months for that fiscal year, you're going to be eligible to apply. In contrast, there's going to be a few criteria for the larger grant. Again, that starts off with a process where you have to meet with an advisor anyways. You go through an eligibility criteria, so you're not going to do busy work. Again, this isn't my realm of expertise, so I haven't actually gone through this process with any of my clients or myself. But the primary process or eligibility requirements is that you have to have anywhere from one, so you still have to have that minimum one employee, all the way to 499 employees. So that would kind of pop you into the mid-sized business category. And you're going to also have at least $500,000 in revenue for one of the past 3 fiscal years. So it's not, as long as you've had 1 year in the past 3 fiscal years where you've made over $500,000, you're going to be eligible to apply for this $15,000 grant. The final thing is that the grant covers largely 90% of the eligible expenses that you go through with your business plan. And lastly, you're going to be eligible for that $100,000 0% loan, which is a different application, part of the same process. And there's also one hidden one there where you're able to employ a post-secondary student or a recent graduate for short-term employment to assist with digitizing your business. So they'll give you up to $7,300 in subsidies to get a post-grad. to come in and help you, however long that lasts in terms of subsidies or however long you need that person for. Again, the commitment for both of these grants is at least 6 months of commitment that you're going through and executing on that digital adoption plan. So again, just to recap, you need to be for profit. You need to hit all of these criterias. For the rest of this video, I'm primarily going to focus on the Grow Your Business grant because that's my field of expertise. If you do have any questions on the Boost Your Business Technology grant, you can check out some of the links in the description below, and it'll take you directly to the website to find an advisor for you. So you're thinking about getting this grant and you're wondering to yourself, what can I actually use this $2,400 for? So as I mentioned at Rehash, we actually help clients do these kinds of digital adoption strategies to figure out how to use technology to actually deliver business outcomes. So how do you bring in more sales? How do you bring in, a little bit more efficiencies to your back office? How do you replace that, pen and paper and Excel sheet into something that can actually bring time back into your day? That's the general spirit of this grant as well. So if you think about, any type of technology or service investments that will help bring in sales for your business or reduce your cost of doing business, can be applied to this grant. So there's very specific kind of terminology here that I'll go through in a second. One thing I'll note is that you'll see a lot of references towards e-commerce when it comes to this grant. Now, e-commerce, when you're thinking about it, you probably think of Amazon or Shopify. That's not the definition that they're using here. So the definition of e-commerce in this case is having any sort of technology on a digital platform that makes it easier to find and attract and do business with some sort of client. So if you were, let's say, an HVAC technician, you put a book an appointment link directly into your website, and then technician goes out, does the quotes fully on an iPad, and also has a mobile payment point of sale platform to be able to take that payment. That would technically be considered e-commerce. One thing to note is that redesigning a website is technically not included. So you can't just say, oh yeah, I'm gonna put a fresh coat of paint on that website, just make it more fancy and do social media marketing. You specifically have to have an extra piece of functionality that'll make it easier. So as I mentioned before, having that booking link or something like that. I'll actually show you some examples here in just a second. So here's two concrete examples of things that you would typically see from a website. Again, this isn't holistic. There's back office technologies that you can do as well, but this is the simple ones that you can compare. I picked these two companies essentially out of the hat. I just Googled HVAC companies. So either one shout out, I'm not bashing either of these companies, but just an example of things you can do. So this company here, their call to action is this phone number. If I go through, they have a lot of good contact information, but it's largely through email. They have a 24-hour emergency and some financing. So very basic website. So this is one of those types of sites that I would say, hey, there's big opportunity here. You can do a lot of automation when it comes to platforms. And compare this with a website like this. So this is what usually a similar type of company would end up evolving into. So in this case, they have a direct booking appointment link. They have queries, so you can request a technician to come over. So this would augment your dispatch. Now, even this is just a contact us form, so it's not going to be an automated system. So even this can have an opportunity because there's software out there that can actually fully integrate all of this as a dispatch solution, as an appointment solution, as a calendar booking solution. A lot of these things can be fully automated, and you save so much time for your business to and make sure that you're serving your clients a little bit better as well. And on the final note, that as I mentioned, is not exclusive to just the websites. There's a lot of back office solutions that are even integrated, and most importantly, can be integrated with a lot of the things that your folks in the field or in the office that you're using alongside your website or social media. Most of the value comes in where you start integrating all these technologies together and seeing a lot of those efficiencies and the manual tasks that you have to do. So on that note, the sponsor for today's video is Thryv Software, an all-in-one small business management tool that allows you to integrate all of the key functions that will help you grow and scale your business. Now, I've seen a lot of software throughout my career. Used to be in tech sales, and a lot of software focuses on features and functionality and expects the customer to adapt to the software. When I had an opportunity to look at Thryv as a potential partner for Rehash, it absolutely blew me away how much their platform caters to their client base. So they target 4 key industries: home services, so like contractors, electricians, things like that; health services, so doctors' offices, dentists, things like that. You have legal firms, as well as health and wellness. So if you have spas, fitness studios, so on and so forth, you're going to have a very, very good time within this platform. What I absolutely love is that they take in mind what the priorities are for most small businesses. So they structure it into 3 key categories in terms of what their product offers. It's about getting the job, managing the job, and getting credit. So everything from getting the job involves how do you actually find and accelerate getting new business in the door. So how your customers find you, which means marketing, social media, integration to your website; how your customers engage with you, so how they actually book an appointment with you or getting some sort of form filled out, that type of thing. And then also looking at, well, once they're in the door, what happens? You manage the job. So you optimize all of the key processes that make sure that you don't drop the ball on any client. You make sure that you're servicing to the best of your ability, and you rely on making sure that you don't lose any of this business that you've worked so hard to get. So it includes calendars, your document management, being able to manage your staff, even shared calendars for some fitness studios. There's some very industry specific features in there as well. And of course, the most important part, getting paid. So one of the big pain points that I've worked with clients on is actually getting paid on time. So making sure that you have a wide range of payment options available to your clients will make sure that you get paid on time and you get paid quickly. And then once you have that happy customer, what better way to support the growth of your business than making sure that they have an ability to leave you a great Google review, that you can prompt them for a lot of these follow-ups, whether it's repeat business in the future or getting more business in the future from other prospects through Google reviews and word of mouth. So we are a certified partner of Thryv Software. So if you are interested in seeing a demo, learning a bit more about how it works, or even making it a part of your Canada Digital Adoption Program grant, reach out to us. I'll leave a link in the description below on how to book some time with us for a free consultation. If you do end up booking that consultation before June 2nd, I believe the date is, we're also going to provide you with 30 minutes free of a digital assessment that gives you a high-level strategic overview. You can milk our brains in terms of how best to deploy a lot of these solutions, even without a CDAP kind of application. And then you're also going to be able to understand where your business needs growing. So we're going to give you an audit report on your business in terms of your social media, your website, your SEO, all that good stuff. So if you submit a request in the request below, we'll give you that digital assessment worth $100. So a huge thank you to Thryv for supporting our mission to help support small business owners. And without further ado, back to the video. So while the software is a big part of what the grant is trying to promote, whether it's through your website or through your back office, it's also about how to use that technology effectively. So that means 2 things, hardware as well as services. So on the hardware front, this also includes things like a laptop. You can also justify like a laptop purchase if you want something a little bit juicier to be able to actually view and run and edit a lot of these digital platforms that you might need. However, hardware and services, especially if they're together, are only eligible for a 20% reimbursement. So as an example, you can get a new point of sale system that has the equipment. You can claim that, but you'll only get 20% back. So this includes any bundled software with that hardware. So if you have one of those Clover terminals or Monera's terminal, something like that, any of the software that they sell you alongside it, again, because it's part of that point of sale system, it's only eligible for 20%. The last piece is going to be services. So from a service perspective, this includes anything that you would need from marketing, for training, and for consulting. So both understanding how to develop and use all these technologies, getting trained to be self-sufficient on operating these technologies, especially if it's not included in a lot of the software that you buy, especially for complex software, and then also any type of continuous marketing. So It's all well and good to be able to create, that amazing e-commerce website, or, adding those, great functionality on your website for booking an appointment. If you can't actively bring in organic traffic or even paid traffic to your website for people to get through your door, then it's all a moot point. So part of the services that are eligible is, SEO services, social media services, anything that'll help drive, traffic and brand awareness to your business to make sure that you can actually take advantage and grow your customer base as part of a lot of these projects. So now that you have an idea of how this grant can be used, let's go over how to actually apply. So I'll post all of these links in the description below, but for the purpose of this, you go to the ISED website, you click Grow Your Business Online Grant, and then you'll click here to apply now. You'll go through and make sure that you're selecting your appropriate region. Each region has different organizations that actually facilitate the application. Two of them here in Ontario that I would recommend is either the Ontario Chamber of Commerce, or in this case, it says Toronto Association of Business Improvement Areas. This is the long form of Digital Main Street, as they're called. I would suggest the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. It's a lot more straightforward. And then as you go through here, it's fairly direct. You go apply now. And then if you're doing this DIY, then you just go through here, fill in all the key details that you would need, your budget plan, and then your grant application proposal. If you do decide to work with us, our process is that we would go through and until I believe June 2nd, we're offering a free 30-minute full digital assessment. So whether or not you do the CDAP application or not, we're going to go through and give you an actual audit, which is one of the components you'll need to submit the application. Once you have that strategy session in place, we're going to draft exactly what you need for the grant application, including the documents you need, all the information you need to type in, and even some screenshots on what this form looks like, so that it'll be step by step, super simple to actually get the grants application done. And then we'll get an engagement letter signed, so essentially saying that, hey, this is going to be what we're going to be doing together. If you get actually approved, then we'll execute it after the fact. So big thing, regardless if you're doing it yourself or through us, do not pay for anything until you have pre-approval. So how the grant works is that you need to go through and apply for it, and then you'll get a notification saying it's been declined or you've been pre-approved. So hopefully you get pre-approved. Once you get pre-approval, that's when you can start, purchasing something. Anything dated before that pre-approval will not be eligible for reimbursement. Now, if you do end up choosing to work with us as part of this application, we literally give you everything, and it probably won't take you any more than 5 minutes to actually go through this process from this link all the way into finalizing the application. We tell you all the documents that you need to pull up from Government Canada website, all that good stuff, and bada bing, bada boom, you're ready to go to execute and build up that fancy new process to make sure that your business grows. So as some final thoughts, there's not really that much downside to this program. If you do end up going through the process, it's still a good exercise to begin with, understanding kind of where you're at in terms of digital maturity, seeing if there's any solutions out there that you might be missing that even independently outside of the grant you might be able to take advantage of. That'll help solve some of the problems that you might be facing in growing your business. Absolutely valuable process to go through. Now, if you do have to consent to participating in the survey, so there's going to be a section on the Government of Canada website where they'll post a lot of the stories and survey comments that you have in place. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, once you're approved, you go through the process, you implement it. Generally, a lot of the folks here, especially through the survey programs, are very, very happy with the solution that they have. Again, besides free money, most actually invest a little bit more than $2,400 because once they find out about some of the technologies that are available, they're absolutely flabbergasted about how much in their business can actually be improved, accelerated, especially driving new business in the door. So again, if you do have any questions about this program that we haven't covered in this video, type it into the comments below. I do read all the comments, given that this is our first video in this channel. So I will make sure to respond to each of you. Even if you're just saying hi, would love that. Again, YouTube algorithm and all that. So if you made it this far, hopefully you found the video valuable. We do welcome your feedback, especially for me. I'm a very new content creator. This is the first video I'm ever posting on YouTube. So if you have feedback, is this too long? Am I shouting? Should I get rid of the hat? I don't know. So, especially as a new channel, we would love if you did like it to like the video. That helps us in one way. If you love it or you want to see more tech videos specific to small businesses, we're going to do a bunch of reviews and courses, things like that. Please subscribe, click the little bell icon, and you're going to be able to get notified the moment we release a new video. Hopefully with this feedback, it's going to be a little bit better than this one. Thank you so much for your support. If you've stuck this long, I just noticed that there's probably like almost half an hour's worth of content in this video. By the time I edit this, hopefully it's a little bit shorter. I do like to be concise, but thank you for your support, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.